Hi guys, today we're making stuffed peppers for the freezer, and I've got a lot of things going on. Hopefully you can hear, got the dryer running and some other things. So wanted to show you what we're getting into here. I'm kind of prepping all the ingredients that I'm going to need for several different things. So right now in here we've got some ground beef. This happens to be local ground beef, but you can use whatever you have access to. It'll all turn out delicious. You want to liberally salt the ground beef. This is your one chance to get some flavor in here. And generally speaking, I like to flavor mine with Italian seasonings. So, excuse me here, I'll lean over you. Got some Italian seasoning. So Italian seasoning is oregano, parsley, basil, and some other good stuff. It smells really, really wonderful. Now, I've already prepped up some sausage. I've also got some quinoa in a pot. And I'm going to show you a no rice stuffed pepper. All right. All right, that's about ready. Remember that the pepper is it's also gonna cook in the pepper. So once you stuff the pepper, we're gonna freeze that, and then when you're ready to have stuffed peppers, just pull out the peppers as you need them. I'm gonna grab some tomato sauce, be right back. All right, here we go. Sort of have all of the components, I think. Now we need something to mix it in. Let's try a big bowl. No matter how much I seem to try to prepare for YouTube day, I just never have everything ready. I don't know. Hopefully that'll come with some practice. Okay. So I've got a big bowl here. I've got tomato sauce, I've got sausage, I've got ground beef, and I've got quinoa. And I've also got some chopped onions in the back. And I'm going to show you how to make the filling first. Okay? So remember that if you have several things to do, you can go ahead and prep your meat. Now, if I didn't want to use all of this ground beef for the stuffed pepper, it's flavored with Italian seasoning, so I could easily put that in spaghetti or any other Italian dish, lasagna or pizza or anything, okay? And with the sausage, I'm gonna leave a little bit back for an egg casserole that I'm working on in the oven. So we are gonna add some ground beef, and I'm gonna start with about a pound. This is 2 pounds in this skillet because I just didn't want to do it separately for other recipes. Right? So we've got about half of it. And then I've got about 2 pounds of sausage in here. This is going to be easy because I can just measure it. I find that adding the sausages gives it flavor. This is not the recipe that I grew up with my mom making, so sorry, Mom. I've adapted it. I find this has a lot of flavor. I always hated green peppers. I don't know why. I always hated them. I still hate them. So I only make stuffed peppers with red, orange, and yellow peppers. All right, now look at this beautiful quinoa. Oh my goodness. It fluffed up beautifully. I found that the secret was, I read that you have to rinse it because that takes any bitterness out of it. And then I did it in broth. Now the way I had broth on hand, I didn't have actually liquid broth. I filled up the water, I added some adobo seasoning, and I had freeze-dried powdered chicken broth, so I was able to use that up. Now you can see, I'll show you, this is starting to really come together. It's what I want to see. You can add cheese to this, you can add pieces of pepper. I often add pieces of pepper because it just looks so beautiful. So I think that's where we're at. We're going to start with 1 jar of sauce. This is a no sugar sauce. Okay. And we're also going to add some onions. Now keep in mind the onions will cook inside the peppers when you go to cook them. So I'm putting in raw onions right now, and that'll give it a better texture. If you use cooked onions, you certainly can do that. They'll just sort of disappear into the mix, which isn't a bad thing. All right, so we're gonna say about 2 cups of onions into the mix. And then we're just gonna give it a little mix here and see what we have. Now you can add Parmesan cheese, which is pretty standard, or at least how I usually do it. Or you can leave it out to be dairy-free. Or you can freeze it without cheese and then add cheese to the top when you bake it. All right, I think we have a good mix here. Let me show you, once the onions are in, kind of what you're looking at. Nice and equal. Looks like in every bite you'll get a little bit of each ingredient. And I think I'm gonna stop right there. Might add a little tiny bit of tomato sauce. Yeah, that's good. It's the whole jar of sauce is fine. So we're gonna go with that whole jar. Okay, this looks amazing. Gonna give it a little taste test for salt. Let's see how it is. Oh man, that is good. It's got enough salt. Keep in mind that the sausage is salty, so be real careful, but it's got a good flavor, so I think we're gonna roll with that. Try this again. Yeah, the meat was not very salty, but I think there's a lot of salt coming into the sausage. All right. I have already rinsed my peppers. Oh, water's coming out. Since the bag has a hole in it, I went ahead and put them back in there to drain. Now the way you do a pepper, really long knife. Here it is. Okay. So if you can see it here. Now, this pepper sits nice and pretty, so on its own, but there are some times where they do not. There might be a little too lopsided to sit in the pan. At least I can get his work. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and leave the top intact, and I might have skimped out on it a little bit. I put the tops back on my peppers. You can also cut this and use that for the filling. You can put that in the filling. That's what I was talking about before. Got a scrap bucket here. These go to the chickens. They love them. All right, so this one I actually cut a little too close because the little stem. I like to have them all in one piece. And then we're just going to fill this pepper. We actually don't have to cut the end of this pepper. Actually, before I do that, I am going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'm also trying to use up some breadcrumbs, so I think I'm going to throw that in there. I'll just give it some extra flavor. You know, you can actually use up things that you have on hand. Zucchini would be wonderful in this if you had a glut of zucchini, like you sometimes do during the season. Yeah, it's only about maybe a quarter cup at the max. Okay, we're gonna stir this up, get the stuffing. All right, I'm trying to think ahead to times where maybe we really like stuffed peppers, and it's one of my husband's absolute favorite meals. I don't make it that much because it takes a little bit of effort. And it's not that you don't want to put into effort into, you know, what you're making, but sometimes you just don't have the headspace or the time. And now that garden seasoning is kind of ramping up, I want to be free to do some things outside. So I'm going to make a series of, oh look, I just got a whole bunch of water all over me. I'm going to make a series of things that I can put in the freezer. I got a new freezer last night. Ooh, sorry about that. Got a new freezer. I'm going to fill that sucker up. We've got some an egg casserole coming. I've got French toast we're going to be making. I'm going to do ham sandwiches ahead of time, which is something we always do anyway. All right, and here is the stuffed pepper. So now you can put the lid back on it. And the lid's not necessary. It just looks so pretty when you bake it. I have one dish that I use, and it's my stuffed pepper dish, and it looks so gorgeous. Now, I haven't frozen these all together. This is sort of an experiment, but I figure all of this stuff freezes well. Ground beef freezes fine, peppers freeze fine, onions freeze fine, so I don't know why they wouldn't freeze fine together. So we're just taking a huge chance. Chickens. And we're just cleaning it out. And we're going to fill all the way up to the top. And make sure you push it down. I'm feeling pretty confident that these are going to be amazing. You've got layered flavor, so you've got flavor from the quinoa, you get flavor from the sausage, you get flavor from the ground beef, you got flavor from the tomato sauce, because it's a regular, you know, pasta sauce, like a spaghetti sauce, so it had garlic and some other things in it. I would say you can make these kind of bland, and that would be the danger. The peppers can take a lot of flavor, so don't be afraid to mix all the flavors together. And here is 2 peppers for when we're ready for dinner. And we can just pull these right out of the freezer. and heat them up. I'd say heat them on 350 until they're warmed all the way through, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes. You can put mozzarella cheese on the top and leave this. You can leave the tops off if you do that. But I hope that is something that you would want to try. It's delicious, and filling your freezer is something that I take seriously, and I'm ready to really get started, and I hope you are too. So we'll see you on the next one.